Hello everybody, my name is Eric, and today we're going to be looking at a network of very sophisticated, malicious, fake games and other fake projects being used to trick people. Now, I don't know what is behind this network, but this is clearly very sophisticated. This is not like the random cheat scams on GitHub. They've put a lot of effort into this, which is why it is worth covering. So this is Syndott. Now, Syndott may be the name of a legitimate development company, but this profile belongs to cybercriminal. These people have been involved, and they have very legitimate looking website. We can see Pioneering Innovation. This looks like a place where I could hire a development house. The website works. The social media links work. Let's see if the expertise links work. It does. Careers? Can we get a job here? No. Okay. That's interesting. I always check whenever I see a website I'm not sure about. I check, does every piece of it that should work? Because, of course, a legitimate development company does need to hire workers. A scam operation does not, because everyone working there is in on the scam. Now, inevitably, once they get exposed, they'll just rebrand and keep on going, because that's how these scams work. But let's take a look at what they've done. This is very clever, and in fact, it took me ages to find any indication of malicious activity. What I was quickly able to find, though, was indications of deception. What I mean is, to know that a project is fake, you don't need to find the malware payload, you just need to figure out that it's not as described. Like, what we can quickly figure out is that this is open source accounting software, not a video game. Therefore, now we just go hunting for the payload with the lucidity of knowing that we are not going to fall for this. Now, pretty much everything here looks legit. So the way that this scheme is working is through a nest of dependencies, which is how JavaScript works. Now, the other giveaway is if you look down here, why is this scroll function here? That means there's going to be something on this side of the code. And here is where that piece of code is. This is Visual Studio Code. If you're wondering, doesn't matter what code editor you use, every IDE is going to have this functionality, and here is where the payload is hidden. So we can try any number of methods to deobfuscate this and get an idea of what it's doing. This one was posted in my Discord. Some of the people there are very good in the analyst section, very, very good at doing reverse engineering and threat monitoring, so we were able to catch it. Now, I'm just going to use the free version of ChatGPT because this is on a VM, and I'm obviously not going to sign into any paid tool on a VM, and that would be idiotic. Now, given how mangled it is, it's probably going to be easier to watch the behavior than it is to study it in static analysis, although we can do both. So what we're going to do is we are going to execute this. As I said, this is in a stealthy VM, not the host, hence why there is no real risk in doing this. Now, because getting Git and any tools to work on Windows is an absolute pain, I've already downloaded it, and a few other ones. So, what do? npm run start. Okay, we need to do npm install first. Now, the main way you can tell this scam is the tactics, techniques, and procedures used by the threat actors. Unfortunately, the malware is so nested, no reasonable person who doesn't already know is going to catch it. So the main way you can tell is you're going to be offered via some sort of contact a private beta testing opportunity with this is a Web3 game, which is jargon for crypto, and that you get an opportunity to try this ahead of other people, and that you'll be either paid directly or that this is a pay-to-earn game where you can earn money to play it. Now, there are edge cases where people actually get paid to earn crypto games, but the beta testing opportunity is most likely not real. Unfortunately, they target real influencers who do get real requests. It is a tricky scam to deal with. This is not one of the scams where it's like, okay, this person is brain dead, how did they fall for this? This is very much a scam that anyone, anywhere could reasonably fall for if they didn't know about it. While we're waiting for the dependencies, we can even see they even have a LinkedIn page, which is something very few scammers go to the trouble of going to this much in depth to create a presence. And here, I don't see any fake employees, but this profile was set up 7 months ago. So this has been going on for a long time. Now we can look at where this address is. This is in Belgrade, which is the capital of Serbia. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce any of that because I would butcher it horribly. To me, it does not look like there is anything that would look like office space around here unless this is a building. Threat actors do not give their real addresses. I was just investigating as to whether they had used a real company's information. There are also, of course, things called a virtual office that you can buy for a very small amount of money that does give you a real legally usable mailing address without anything else. It's possible they're using a service like that. So about a lot of time in trying to get dependencies installed that I had blamed on Windows, but was actually trying to run HTTP debugger, which I guess does not mix with NPM, because a lot of package managers are trying to prevent man-in-the-middle attacks, which includes our man-in-the-middle attack. So let's go. Okay. What is all that junk that's just been... that seems to be the real app, and it is asking to be let through the firewall, but this is the real part of the payload. Now let's see if anything has executed in stealth. Yep. Now IP API hit is an immediate red flag. We got uploads. Okay. HID timestamp. This is to... this also might be helpful if they figure out this is run on a VM. After the fact, they can dump it. Now this looks to be a fairly potent... Now let's see where the exe is. So this is coming from Node, and then it switches to python.exe. Now this looks like another stage downloader, and then we get to IP API, which continues to work, given we haven't used any IP addresses that are banned. This is coming from Python requests, and this is a post request, getting some sort of API key. To me, this looks like a Unix epoch, so let's just double check that. Yep, that is the current time. Okay, let's see what we pasted. And type, this is some sort of campaign identifier, internal IPs, so this is all infostealer behavior. One thing you can learn from reading this is that we're probably not being detected as a VM, which is good. Now we have an absolute boatload of Bing. Oh, that's from me, okay. And now I'm just going to download sysinternals, and then I'm going to turn off the internet. The reason for that is we've got everything that we need, and just in case this is some sort of rat where they could try and, because this is a sophisticated payload, I'm not worried about an escape so much as I am about a cover-up. Because a human could easily figure out this is an analysis environment, whereas a virtual machine couldn't. Or not a virtual, I mean a AI could not. And given the sophistication here, there is a real chance that humans, because this is a targeted attack, we can just get rid of the internet. And now our VM will not be talking to anybody. Now we can go through sysinternals and find out what has been added. Now we know there's a Python payload from the fact, from what we found from HTTP debugger. Okay, so this looks like it may be a case of, I don't know if I call it fileless malware, but it's one and done, and luckily we have every piece we need of it here. So the first thing is this zip folder, which we can just save. Now we can extract the response content, which is the big file that's going to contain the dependencies for the payloads, and then we are getting what is relatively clear base64 code, PyP. Okay, so this is in fact just a portable Python. There is no indication that anything malicious has been done with this payload. Not saying we would run it as our main, but I'm just saying, like, that doesn't seem to be, that's just the dependencies, so that it doesn't ship a PyInstaller, which I guess might be seen as suspicious. And the only way we're getting anything useful out of that is with Python. Given this one doesn't have a persistent payload, I think we can safely turn the internet back on to download Python rather than using their sketchy Python that comes with it. It's not, like, to be clear, the danger would not be that they could do anything to us. It would just be that they could potentially try and break the VM so that to slow down the analysis, but I'm not that worried about that. And because these are small file payloads, I could just go through the video files that I've recorded. If you know the scripting language being used, and you know how the execution works, you can just replace the execution with a print statement and see what would have gotten executed. It's oftentimes the easiest way of deobfuscating. Okay, so I must be... there is something persistent. There's a clipper here. Okay. Oh, a bot token. Okay. So we have actually completely unpacked. Okay, so I'm going to just turn the internet back off now that we've got everything we need. And I'm going to save these in files so that then we can actually dump these properly, given there's a decent amount of stuff here. And because the variable name is the same, we can use the same code for both files. Now we have everything in nicely, easily readable Python. This is actually, okay, this is straightforward. So this is where everything in that request comes from. This is the first payload, or no, that's actually the first, because that sends the first upload. Then this is either, because this was downloaded server-side, this could be a code. Then our host 1, now our host 1 is base64, where is host being set? Okay, host is being set here. So this is where we download the payload, and this is in fact Windows-only malware. Given this Darwin doesn't have a second payload. If you didn't know, on Python, os.darwin is macOS, and there is no Linux option either. Download browse. Okay. So we can name these things. Dropper. I'm going to call this one. We'll make a folder to make this just a bit easier. Now this is an exfiltrator. This goes beyond a normal infostealer in that this is looking for really any data, especially targeted at developers. We can see from the file extensions here, any data of any interest is going to be uploaded to an FTP server. Now this one, let's see if this one has any payloads for anything. It does. Okay, so this piece of the script is not Windows only, but it assumes that if the OS is not Windows, it's Mac, so it doesn't have anything for Linux, and it would probably require a million prompts to try and deal with. Okay, here's some Linux stuff. So it is cross-platform. Wow. Copies your directories. Oh, and it knows for various crypto and authenticator extensions. So this is well-designed. And then it's sending a telegram. Now we could potentially get the bot token of that. 32 GUI. Okay, it's calling a lot of different functions. Okay, so this is well-designed cross-platform malware targeting people. So that's interesting. I've never seen, not that I'm saying it doesn't exist, I've never actually seen cross-platform malware before. This is a clever payload because it uses interpreted languages that can be used cross-platform without issue. The obfuscation is evidently not as good as if it was machine code, but it is able to run cross-platform. This is a scary payload. It is, from what I have seen and heard, being distributed in very, very smart ways. The only real protection is A, don't run anything you are sent outside of a virtualized environment, ever. Unless you, really trust the person and know they've not been compromised. If a company is claims they want to pay you to run software, unless you recognize that company, I would be very wary. There is an identical version of this. It's not just targeting crypto, targeting gaming YouTubers. So you just got to be extremely careful given these types of things are out there now. So that is going to be all for this video. Please leave a like and a comment if you have anything you wanted to say. Subscribe if you want to see more videos. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.